Hello friends. When I started working on Python, of course by watching some YouTube videos, what I saw over there is the YouTuber used to type Python in some IDE and then they used to run the Python code in the terminal. But later on I realized that yes, everything's working fine, but the output is coming in the terminal and it does not have any mouse or any GUI environment. So quite naturally the question that linger within myself is, how do I give a project to a client? Do I expect that the client will also have a technical skill? The answer of course is going to be not. Then how do I serve the application? Then later on I realized that there is like a desktop application called Tickinter that was responsible for creating a GUI application, but again that is like a console base, which was not like so flexible enough in context to the web application. And that brings us finally to something called Django. In Django you will come across the Python web framework and you can create a stunning application which can be of any format. Now if you search in Google or YouTube, you will find across a lot of videos in context to Django. But then I realized, the implementation of Django with something called AJAX, and that is a JavaScript library for performing asynchronous communication. Remember, the modern JavaScript makes use of ES7, ES8. They all talks about promises or asynchronous communication, async await. So for that reason, our front end also need to make use of such kind of concepts. And that's the reason why this particular video will be very handy for you all, where I will be teaching you or I'll be showing you from the scratch that how can you create an AJAX based Django application that would take input from the user and pass it to the Python Django, and then you can do any such computation further. So as you can see right now in my screen, I have got an HTML template and my console is open over here, the browser console. I will take some input from the user and then I will pass it to I will see what kind of behavior I'm getting it in context to Django. Plus, if you can see over here, I have implemented the static. Let me show you the source code even. Here is the source code, as you can see. Let me close all this tab, and if you see the structure of my application, my project name is called third. I have created the template folder inside which I have got the base.html, and here is the base.html which I'm using. Here I'm using the Jinja template. Engine I am using. So for that reason, I have a separate file for navbar. I will be using this particular block for the content, and I have also a separate file as a footer. So they are all present inside the includes folder. So let me bring you over here. Let me first show you the navbar. Here is the navbar is there, and the navbar has got one hyperlink. A nav link is there, which is a register. This particular navbar you can easily get it from getbootstrap.com website. And since I'm loading a static content, so the static tag is at the beginning. So this was the navbar. Now let's come to the footer. Over here you can write all the script that you will be using, and since I'm going to use Bootstrap, for that reason I have written Bootstrap over here. Let me show you the base template. This is the CDN link for my JavaScript jQuery library, and I have written the JavaScript inside the script folder. So let me show you that. And one more thing over here, style. Well, I just mentioned it, but I didn't write anything about the styling. The Bootstrap serial link for the Bootstrap is also written over here. So now let me take you to the main part of the story, that is the AJAX. So if where the AJAX is present inside the static folder. So here is my static folder, and inside that I have a JS folder, and inside that I have a file called ajax.script. So this is the file that I will be explaining you thoroughly in details. Okay, so that was how the template part goes on. Now let me show you the input that I will be taking, and for that reason I have created one folder called category, and this is the registered HTML page where I'm supposed to take two input from the user, as you did see in the browser. So over here, see, there is one register text box for register name, and I mean category name, and there is another text box where I will supposed to give the remarks. Okay, so these two text box I have created over here. As you can see, this text box, so this is the text box for category name, and this is the text box for category remark, and there is a button, and there is one empty div tag that will fill up the response that is going to come from the Python Django. And as I click on the submit button, so this is my submit button. With the help of the submit button, I'm going to track the JavaScript AJAX will get executed with the help of when the button will be clicked. So this button has got one ID. This will be accepted by the AJAX, and we will go for the execution. Let me show you that. We all know that all jQuery comes up with the symbol at the beginning of any function call. So here also same thing. Document.ready function will be getting executed immediately after the page gets loaded in the browser, and it will wait until the user clicks the submit button. Here over here I have a submit button. Let me show you the name of submit button ID once again. So category underscore register underscore btn, the same name I've given. So once the user clicks on the submit button, then this particular entire code snippet is going to work. So over here I have given a category name, and over here I have a category ID, and as we know that Django always provide you one CSRF like a token is always been given, which is a hidden form that comes by default. So even if you don't write this one, it's not a big deal. I can remove this portion from here, but you have to mention the CSRF token. So if I come to the browser and if I just reload the page once again, and let me show you that as I do the reload, and if I come to the view source, you will find the CSR token is there. So right over here, see, this will be generated automatically by Django, which ensures the privacy of your application. That means it will not get distorted by any outside intruders. So for that reason, the CSR token plays a very important role. Okay, so when you will be clicking on the submit button, at that point of time, what will happen? The AJAX functionality will get called, and the default behavior of a button click is to reload the page, but I don't want to reload. So for that reason, even that prevent default would be getting called, whereby your page reload will not take place. As you can see over here, I have got a couple of text box by the name called category ID. I'm using the hash, so ID I'm using it. Had it been a dot or period, we could have gone for the name attribute. So ID, category name, and category remark, that's what I'm fetching it from here. So with the help of val function of jQuery, I'm collecting data inside this particular name and this particular category remark as well. So over here the name and category remark has been taken successfully, and I can print the data in the console as well. Okay, let me show you even that right now, and before that, after that I will proceed. So let's come over here. Let me just reload the page one more time. And over here I'm just giving a category name, suppose garment. Just a minute, I missed out the letter N. Yeah, and let me write it's nice, it's fine. So if I click on the submit button, see over here garment and fine, that has been accepted by the JavaScript AJAX library. So you can see garment and fine, the remark which I have given is fine, that has been taken over here. So these two things got printed successfully. Now comes the AJAX call, which is the most striking part of the story. So let me tell you how this AJAX call is going to work. So AJAX is in the form of an object. Of course, AJAX is a function, but it takes data in the form of an object. As you can see over here, it has a curly braces, so that means it is taking data in the form of an object. An object means it has got key value pairs. So some of the essential keys which you need to understand, but the main problem which students often used to face, in fact I used to face initially, is like so many keys are there, which particular key would work in which sequence. That is something which was very confusing for me. I hope it won't be confusing for you after this video. So let me tell you that this is where the partition can be put forward. So if you think it like up to this, the upper portion is where the calling would take place, and this portion is where the incoming the response that will come from the server, that will be accepted. Okay, so success and error, this part would be taken care by the response that you will be getting from the backend. So let's explore all these three parameters. The first parameter is the URL, where you are trying to target. Remember, I'm targeting the root URL, so I've given the root. So what do I mean by this root URL? Well, then I have to explore the file structure of the Django application. So if my project name is third, if I come inside the third, I have got the urls.py file. So if I hit the urls.py file, you will find there's an empty route is there. And this empty route will take us to a file called view, which is present inside the folder called third. So third is the folder name. It's like a package inside which there's a file called views. So this is the file name. Okay, often we write this kind of syntax number of times in any machine learning algorithm, but did you wonder exactly what is the meaning of this form of statement? Let me tell you that. So again, I'm telling you the third means the name of the folder. Inside that folder there's a file called views, and inside that I'm calling a function called register. Would you love to see that? Yes, why not? So if I click on this, the view file gets open. Well, I can open it from here also. If I double click on this, the same view file gets open. So this is the view file, and inside that we have a register function. In fact, that is what's been written over here. So when the route is an empty route or it's a root route, then this particular register function will be getting called and the control will come down over here. Got it? So that is what has been written over here. So in my AJAX, so this first parameter tells me where exactly my route will be transferred. Next, I'm going to send data to the backend. I'm going to send data to the Django. So for that reason, the method is of type post. In fact, in my form, if you have noticed, here also I've written the post because I am going to submit the data, right? But one more thing, stop over here and just imagine when I executed my application. Let me show you that when I executed my application at that point of time, what I did. Let me show you even that. So when I executed my application, I came to the root route. Imagine, suppose I want to open an application right over here. So what I will be doing, I will write localhost and I will hit the enter. The moment localhost 8000, I will hit the enter, the application will get open, right? How is this application getting open? But did I mention that which particular page it has to come up? That is what we mentioned even over here as well. So that means when you are targeting a particular view at that point of time, any one of the method can get executed. It will be method is can be get or can be post. So how do you identify? Well, by default, when you're loading the page for the first time, of course it will be a get request. When you fill the form and you submit, then the post request come in picture. So request.method get will come initially, and what it happens, well, in that case it tells that you please open the template. So render function is going to open the template. So where exactly it will redirect? There is a folder called category. So if you come to this folder inside the template, here is a folder called category. Oh, by the way, you might be thinking that how exactly it knows that it has to go to the category template. Well, for that reason you have to come to the project settings.py file, which we all know. So if you scroll up over here, you will find there's a template arrays there over here, which I mentioned that the path.join is the template folder that I have created inside my project. So because of that reason, it knows that where exactly the template is located. So I stated the folder name called category. So this is the category folder inside which I have a file called register.html. That's what I'm targeting. So it will come right over here and it will open the following page. Sound interesting, isn't it? Okay, so that is what is going to happen at the time when I will type the URL in the browser and I will hit on the enter button. So typing URL in the browser and hit the enter, that's what it will be taking place. So the get request is getting fired. But when I will fill the form and I will click the submit button, at that point of time the post request is going to get fired. So let me show you even that as well. So now imagine I'm filling the form again, and let me clear the terminal over here so that you see it much better way. So I run the application now. Okay, so let's come over here and let me write the name of the category as book. We need to read books. So the moment I will click on the save button, what will happen? This data which is in the template right now should be redirected through AJAX. So let me bring you to AJAX once again. The AJAX will hit this particular route. This is the post request. The AJAX is going to submit it to the server, and see over here it has got these two variables from the first text box, this from the second text box. So these two data I'm sending. At the same time, you also need to ensure that you send your CSRF token, and I showed you that there was a text box by this particular name, and from that text box, since it's a text box, I'm writing import, where from I'm getting the data. The .val function ensures that you get the data, and I'm passing the data in the form of a key value pair. You are free to write whatever key you feel like, that's not an issue, and this data has to be forwarded to the backend to ensure privacy and security. So this is what I need to forward. So 3 data is coming, out of which I'm most interested in the first 2 data. So for that reason, my view should accept the data. But before that, hang on, I want to show you that what is this request.post actually means. So that will be printed in my terminal. Are you good to see that? Okay, so I get the input from the user, and now if I click it, I will be seeing the content of the request.post. So as I click, look over here what the content you have got. You got a query dictionary. You got a query dic means dictionary. See, look over here, this is where the object started and this is where the object ended, and it is in the form of key value pair. So this is the key, that is the name of the field as a category. I got one data called book, and this is the field called category remark, and this is the data I got, and there is a field called CSRF middleware token, and this is the data which I have got. So basically, when you are submitting the data from the HTML via AJAX, you would be getting something called query dictionary. So now you have to go for the interpolation. That means you have to extract the key so that eventually you get the value. That's what we have to do it, and that's what in fact I did it. So with the help of request.post.get, I know that there is a field called category name, category underscore name, as you can see right over here, category underscore name, category underscore remarks. So I can straightforward, I can extract the data from this, and I'm storing it right over here. So that means if your AJAX has sent the data successfully, then definitely your view can extract the data from the query dictionary. And here I have extracted, and these two are independent variable. Now just I want to ensure that what if the user did not give any input. That means in that case there would be no input as such in this particular to field. Okay, but the token will be there. So let me reload the page once again, and let me show you even that. Suppose I am not filling the data and I'm clicking on submit button. In that case, what happens? See over here, there is no data in the category name, there is no data in the category remark, but there is a token available. So that reason what I'm doing is that I'm checking whether category name has data or not. In case if it is not, if the data is not there in a category name, then I'm sending a JSON response, and it is coming from this following path, and I'm going to send a JSON response with this as an acknowledgement as a key, and this is the data that I'm going to send. This is the value which I'm going to send, and I want to accept this response, this key inside the HTML page over here. See, I have got an empty div tag where the data is going to be populated, and this is the data that will come. So let me show you what I have written. So this is the empty field, but I need to accept this data coming from the AJAX, because HTML will not get the data directly, it will be forwarded through AJAX. So look over here, there is a success, there is an error. In case if there is some transaction failure because of the route, then the error would get executed. But if you are getting a response successfully from the server, even though it's a blank input, but still the response is coming from the server, in that case what I'm doing is that will come to the success key, and the data which I'm sending, that means this entire JSON response, will get stored inside this response parameter. And inside this response I have got one key called acknowledgement, and the category name, that what I'm rendering over here. See, this is the div tag which I have created inside the HTML, the empty div tag that what I'm putting over here, and there is a method called text, and I have taken response to category. Remember, this particular response that you are sending, acknowledgement or category name, will actually get stored inside this parameter called response. So from there I have to pick up with the help of dot operator the following category name and the category and the acknowledgement that is coming. So here the data will get stored. That means in case if it's empty, that would get stored. Otherwise, well, I'm printing in the console as well, I mean the terminal as well, and if it is successful, then I am rendering another JSON response. That means in case if data is there, then this particular if condition is going to be false, so it will come right over here. I will print this following message as well as the category input which I have given. So let me show you one last time. So I come to the browser, I hit the page, and I want to give some input this time. So I'm giving the input like suppose furniture and needed. So this is the remark I'm sending, and now if I click on submit button, you will see that the furniture is there, the remark is there, and the token is also there. And see over the message furniture category, so category name which I have given as input, that has been successfully shown over here, because this message is there plus the category name which I have given, that is what I'm passing over here, and that eventually comes to the AJAX, and AJAX will receive the message of category name and the acknowledgement that is coming, and eventually it is printing this following message. Oh my god. I don't know, but I explained it entirely much in details. So if you explore this entire video thoroughly once again from the very beginning, I'm sure you would be strong enough in AJAX. Make sure each time when you're working in HTML, Django, surely you make use of jQuery AJAX function, because this will help you a lot. Because as you can see over here, when I'm clicking the submit button, at that point of time there is no page reload. Let me show you again. If I click on submit button, the page reload is not taking place, and this is very important as a context to modern REST application and asynchronous communication, because you saw that a particular segment of data is going going to the back end, and the particular segment data is coming from the coming from the back end to the front end. So this sequence of action that is taking place over here is very important from all modernist application. Okay, so that's all from this video presentation. See you soon. Bye bye.